Hello, it's Lou Collins here with today's top tip for you. Do you find you have lots of little scraps of paper like this? So I've been testing out some inks and their properties and how they work with water, but I've now got these scraps laying around and I really don't want to throw them out. They're far too pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a really quick card using them, and you can do this with any sort of paper scraps that have got ink and paint and splatters and things on them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out as many hexagons as I can from these panels of paper. I'm going to die cut them, put them all over, so I'll probably get about 8 from each sheet, and then pop them onto a card, and I'll show you how. So just removing the waste there, I'm left with these beautiful hexagons. They have that pattern over them, and once you start scattering them, they look really, really pretty. Now I've just laid them out, no order whatsoever, and I'm just going to add a little bit of detail. So I've got a script stamp here. This can be anything that's like a little bit of a background stamp, and I'm going to use the stamp not on an acrylic block, pop it into one of the colours that I use to create these blends with, and just stamp little bits over some areas of the hexagons there. I'm not being precise with it either. You can go in different directions. Some of them I'm going on the edge and some of them I'm going in the middle, so you can see there. I have got that one just in the middle. I've got this one at the top. That's a little bit lighter. There's a tiny little bit of text on this one. That just adds a little bit of texture, but then it also makes it look as if everything was intentional. So now to put these onto a card. I have a bright white cardstock here, and I have some really big foam pads as well. Now the foam pads are going to help me make this look as if it's got a drop shadow behind it, and because they're large ones it means I haven't got to do any snipping or cutting down. So I'm just going to start positioning these. I'm not going to plan it out. I'm going to just start popping them onto my card, one at the edge, then work my way through them. Again, I'm not going to even look at where each one's going to be going because I want to make it really random. And you can overlap the card here as well, the card edge. There we go. Now I can absolutely fill that card if I wanted to, or I can just leave it with the gaps like this. I'm going to turn this over now, just snip off the edges, so we're just making that flush as we go along. And lastly, all I need to do is add a sentiment across here. So just to finish this off, I've got some thread that I had hanging around as well, so still using our scraps. I've just bunched it together, and I'm going to use a little bit of clear glue, just tiny little dabs to hold the thread in place, and stretch that out to make sure that your sentiment and your embellishments will go over the top. Then I've got a ready-made acetate sentiment. A little bit of clear glue on that too, and then lastly a little white die cut butterfly can sit on here just to finish everything off. So now we have a really dimensional card just from using lots of our scraps.